and starting the webinar.
So students, good morning. We'll get started in just a few moments. For those of you joining, again, welcome. Just give us a few moments and we'll probably begin in about 3 to 4 minutes. Again, good morning, everyone. We'll get started shortly. One more minute. All right, let's get going, everybody. That okay? Marley, Jessica, Paul, Amel? Okay. All right, welcome to our Spring 2024 Pre-Departure webinar, everybody. We'll begin. Marley, next slide, please. We begin our session today with a land acknowledgement. We do this to express gratitude and to honor the Indigenous people who have lived and worked on this land historically and presently. We would like to acknowledge the Indigenous peoples of all the lands that we are on today. Canberra College resides on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and within lands protected by the Robinson-Huron Treaty of 1850. This land is occupied by the people of Nipissing First Nation, Treaty Number 10, in the Robinson-Huron Treaty of 1850 since time immemorial. While we meet virtually today, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands which we call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improving our own understanding of local Indigenous peoples and their cultures. From coast to coast, we acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territory of all the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people that call this land home. Thank you. So, everyone, my name is Amr Tayyib. I am happy to offer a few words to all of you and introduce the team that will really be undertaking our pre-departure orientation today. So, um, I'd like to say hello to you, and I'll try to do so in a couple of different ways. A couple of these languages I do speak actually. So, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Hola, Ni hao ma, Annyeonghaseyo, and just very much hoping that helps us understand the level of diversity that we have among all of you and among our student base here at Canada College. So, welcome to the Spring 2024 pre-departure orientation session. Our session today should last about an hour and a half, maybe a bit less, maybe a bit more. I'll just offer a few words to introduce the topics and the presenters and what it is that we're trying to achieve today. Again, my name is Amr Tayyib, and I have the pleasure of offering a few words today to introduce the fulsome and comprehensive pre-departure orientation we have prepared for you. We hope that through this comprehensive session, you will be well prepared to arrive safely in Canada, register for your classes, understand what our local community is all about, and give and receive communication with your college effectively. Please remember that this session is designed to be the bridge between your travel to Canada and the comprehensive orientation activities designed for you once you arrive physically in Canada and in North Bay. In fact, the Spring 2024 in-person orientation is already confirmed for April 26th, 2024. Our presentation is structured in 5 key sections using a deliberately designed funnel approach. In section 1, we will introduce you to Canada and the local community of North Bay. Here we'll situate the community you will be studying in within Canada and give you a sense of what to expect as you prepare to arrive. My colleague Paul will lead this section. So that's section 2 on the slide that you see in front of you. And Paul, if you could wave to everyone just so they can see you and know you. That's Paul going up first on the docket. Following this, we will introduce you to the main communication channels for international students at Canada College. This is important because getting and receiving the right information is crucial for your success at Canada. My colleague Jessica will lead this section. In preparation for your travel to Canada, we will touch on matters that will help to ensure the smoothest possible trip for you here. Paul again will be your guide. So that's section number 4. Now, living in Canada and North Bay is also something you will need to adapt to when you arrive. This is why we will be sharing with you many useful tips and best practices to making your stay in this country a little bit easier. My colleague Marley will do this in section 5. Thank you, Marley. Finally, our content concludes with the elements that you can expect relative to registration. There are many helpful pieces in section 6 that can serve to reduce stress and anxiety later down the line. My colleague Amil will lead this last and final section, as well as the fun and engaging activity at the very end. With this, I thank you, Amil. I will turn to our first presenter, Paul Singh, to kick off our session with an introduction to Canada College and the city of North Bay and Barrie Sound. Paul, over to you. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the session today. Thank you again for being with us. Paul, you might want to unmute.
Sorry for that. Hi, my name is Dick Paul Singh. I'm an RCIC IRB here at Canada College and international student advisor. Most of my tasks are related to help students with their immigration-related matters and to help them with their extensions or study permit, co-op work permit. And yeah, Marley, next slide, please. Okay, so introduction to Canada. Many of you would probably have received their decision on their study permit application. So congratulations to them. And some of you might be waiting, so good luck with that. Canada is it's considered one of the largest country on earth and has 6 different time zones. So the time zone we have in Ontario might be different, the time in British Columbia and Nova Scotia. And British Columbia and Ontario are most desired and populous provinces in Canada. We're located in Ontario, north of Toronto. Marley, next slide, please. Yes, so North Bay primarily, has a history of railway town and had its roots mostly linked with railways and transportation in colonial times. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah, so just to give a little overview, North Bay is around 3 hours drive from Toronto, 5 and 30 minutes hour drive from Montreal, and this is just a relevant uh, distance we have here, and the time it takes from other populous cities around North Bay. Next slide. Okay, so many students we get, they have concerned about seasons we have in Canada, and one of the questions they have is like how things go in winter when it's covered with snow all over. Nothing stops. That's the common answer. And there's always an infrastructure to take care of these. And when people have, snow on their streets, there's always going to be someone who will clear it up. And Canadians and, people who live in Canada, they really enjoy summer and fall and spring season. Students who are coming now in spring season will get their chance to enjoy upcoming season, spring and then summer, and take the beauty of Canada from it. Next slide, Marley. So this is just some photographs of how Canada looked in fall, spring and winters. One of this photo we see here is from Alberta, where a student is enjoying the beauty of Canada. Next slide. Okay, so students who will be coming in April and May, they will have an average of 10 degrees Celsius, which is very reasonable, and that's the starting for summer. An average high of 15 degree and a low of 5 degrees. Next slide. So few tips when you are coming here in Canada now to have an extra jacket. There's an edge that students in spring and fall they don't really need to pack their winter jackets, and that gives them extra room to pack other things. An extra jacket for evening and morning. Sometimes it can get chilly, and to pack to pack clothes which can help them stay dry, and a comfortable shoes. Many people they get a cultural shock that they have to walk here in Canada for many things, which is not what they do there in their home country. So having a comfortable shoe will be will give them a benefit on this. Okay, so about Canada College, we have four main campuses: College Drive campus, Commerce Court, Aviation, and West Parry Sound campus. There are few satellite campuses in Toronto and GTA also. Uh, Most of the students, they will probably have their classes at Commerce Court and followed by College Drive. And few students do get chance to, uh, take their classes at the Parry Sound. The campuses, I can share that the amazing thing is that they're really connected to the nature, have big windows. So students, when they are taking their classes, they also really get to enjoy the natural beauty of Canada, which is the greenery, to stay connected with it. It really helps them to uh, have the full benefit of it. So some of the facilities we have at Canada College is a gym, which is available to all students and staff. There's there's a sign up for that, cafeteria, and a library that can, give them an environment to learn and excel. Next slide. Okay, so it's really recommended when you come here to Canada and start taking your classes. We have a orientation on 26th of April. Uh, During this orientation, students can really get to know the services Canada has for them. It could be related to, success in their studies or mental support, housing support, or any other issues. We really recommend our students to take part in this orientation. So the more they know about the services we offer, so if they are having an issue in campus or outside, they can use these services and help them with that. Next.
Yeah, Paul, if I could, just a quick note here, with your permission.
Yeah.
Um, and we'll touch on arriving too early and arriving too late, but the April 26th date is perhaps also helpful to our student learners starting in spring 2024 as a date to anchor in your mind. It is not necessarily the case that orientation is mandatory, but it is highly recommended, and it also helps you know roughly when you might want to be physically manifesting in Canada. Of course, the first day of classes, as you all know, is April 29th. So the April 26th date might be a really feasible one. We're not doing the orientation many weeks earlier. Of course, it's just a few days early, but not too early and not too late. So hopefully this is very helpful to all of you. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah. So I have my next colleague. Next slide, Marley. Yeah, Jessica will take over from here.
Good morning. I'm Jessica. If you've emailed the international inbox or you've received any iSend notifications, you've probably been in contact with me in some way. So I'm going to talk today about the ways to communicate with Canador, and most importantly, what you're probably looking for is how to get the quickest answers for your questions. So we'll get started. First thing we want to talk about is formal and informal communication. There's a lot of information out there, a lot of misinformation. So it's important to avoid this misinformation by looking at reliable sources, by not relying solely on your agents or your counselors or WhatsApp groups or your friends or any other third-party sources, to look for the information yourself. And you can do that by going to our website, going to IRCC's website, or asking questions, especially once you're here in North Bay. You have access to our international offices, you have access to our admissions office, you have access to student success services. So it's important to make sure that you know the information is reliable information. So we get a lot of emails asking, and this is good, people are asking questions, because there's a lot of information. Perhaps, you've probably heard about different things about the attestation letters. And it's good to ask questions. Make sure that you're getting that information from a reliable source, again, which would be Canador College, the staff, the IRCC websites. Just make sure you're getting proper information. So we'll move on. So again, you guys are probably looking for the quickest answer possible, and we're going to talk about that. Most of your questions can be answered on the International Microsite, which is on the Canador website. If you go to support, and we'll go through that actually. Through our FAQs, or frequently asked questions. A lot of questions, they might seem like they're a new question, but we do get a lot of the same questions from students. So we do add those to our FAQs. And finally, the iSend app. We send a lot of information, a lot of workshops, a lot of free events, and a lot of critical information through the iSend app. So it's important that you download that, and we will go through that as well. Oh, sorry, I'm not done. And finally, of course, there's email, but with a lot of emails that come into all of our inboxes, sometimes it's quicker for you to go through our website, the FAQs, and the iSent app to find your answer. So it might take us a little bit of time to respond to your inquiry. So now we'll move on, sorry. So just like I just said, the best practices for finding answers. First, download the iSent app. Second is going through our website, whether it's the International Microsite, the Canada College website, or IRCC's website. Go through our FAQs. And if your question isn't in the FAQ, the iSent app, then you can send us an email. But it's really important that you reach out to the correct person so that you're getting the answer as quickly as possible, because if you email the wrong person, then their email needs to go to somebody else. And oftentimes students will email many different departments, but then that causes an issue too, because that department thinks that this person answered it, so then they don't answer, and there's a whole situation. So we'll move on to the next slide. So this is where we're going to download the iSent app. So if you have your phones with you right now, we highly suggest you download the iSent app. So this can be found on Google Play or the App Store. Here you'll find information about orientation. You'll find information about the campuses. You can find our FAQs. You'll be able to also access appointment bookings for our student advisors, as well as our health insurance advisor. The app is mandatory, so whether you download it now or you download it later, the app is mandatory so that you can get this really important information. For example, we just sent out information about accessing the tax forms with the instructions on how to do that. So when you have access to that iSent app, you're getting information as quickly as possible and as accurately as possible. So we'll move on. So this is just a quick overview of the iSent app. You're getting a lot of notifications. You can see where it's colored in green. So you'll find your notifications on the bottom right corner. And just like I said, you can book appointments as well with our insurance advisors and our student advisors. And we can move on from there. So on our website, you can find information about many things. And I know a lot of people have questions about the housing, residence, different events that we might have, like the orientation, important dates such as your fee payment deadlines, your start dates. We have virtual tours for each of the campuses. Student employment opportunities. I know that's an important aspect for many students coming so that they can pay for their fees and pay for living. And then you can also access the international microsite. So this is just a small example of what you can find on our website. If you have any questions, you can go to our website, and you can see the little spyglass there. I don't know if you can hover over it, Marley. Probably not. So there's a little spyglass you can click on, and you can search the words that you're looking for. So if you're looking for housing, you can input the word housing and it'll pull up everything about housing, but specifically you'll be able to go to our page on housing. We can move on. So here we're just showing you where you can find the international microsite, which is a lot of resources and information for our international students. So you'll go to the canadacollege.ca website, and at the top tab, you'll see support, and you'll move over down to the international. And we can move on. So here again, it's the same thing. You can browse the tabs and you can use a little spyglass. So you have advisings and supports. So this is where we were talking about our student advisors and our health insurance advisor. Again, international health insurance is a big aspect on our website here, and you can find an FAQ specifically for the international health insurance. Devant which you'll learn about when you do come. It's a resource to help you stay, live, and work in Canada and succeed in Canada. So we have a lot of free resources through the Devant, through our partnership with Devant, and we do send a lot of workshops through iSend from Devant as well. And then you also have access to our international frequently asked questions and our who to contacts, which will lead you to the correct people to reach out to when you have questions that can't be answered through here. And that moves us on to the frequently asked questions. So one of the tabs is called the FAQ. Pretty simple. You go straight to the FAQ, and then you can browse the organized FAQs. So it's by subject. You can find information on each of the subjects. So there's current students, there's visa and study permit refusals, there's attestation letters, traveling to Canada, or registration. You're going to have a lot of questions about registration, I'm guessing. So there's a lot of questions here. We are constantly working on updating it. So sometimes you might find that there's some outdated information. Like right now, you can see a picture, vaccines and traveling to Canada. Obviously, you don't need to have vaccines now, but these are all being updated. And the same with the iSend app, that's constantly being updated as well. So the who to contact, this is what we're talking about. So very rarely your answer will not be able to be found on the microsite, on the iSend app, in the FAQ. So I hope that's not too distracting. I'm sorry. Then you can click at the bottom of each page of our microsite. There's a tab called Who Should I Contact? That's on every page of our international microsite. And when you click on that, it opens a form. And on one side, there's questions that you might have. So you might have a question about registration. You might have a question about registration. You might have a question about maybe you're having some emotional, some issues with your emotional well-being. So anything that you might have, you'll find it on the left side, and then who to contact on the left side. And we will go through that. And
Jessica,
again, yes.
maybe if I may just intervene briefly, just a quick note to our students. One of the messages that we're trying to send to our student learners is that, yes, there is a lot of information available, and it is comprehensive, and it might feel even overwhelming. It might feel like you're facing a book, but the good news is we're not asking you to review the book in one day. You have time to go through these resources, and that's something that we hope you will take the time to do. And it is good for you and your future success. You are operating at the post-secondary level now, of course, all of you. And it is expected that information will be consumed and shared with you, and you are respectfully expected to process that information in due course. So one idea could be, given that you are now 2 months away roughly from starting your course of studies, that you review these resources in bite-sized chunks. We're not asking you to perhaps review the whole website in one day, but if you could maybe consider going back to the website, going back to the FAQs, going to the iSend app, going to the who to contact sheets, slowly but surely as you go along, leading up to your departure time, this might be a very effective way to consume the information. Most times, individuals will arrive to these pages, to this information, only when they have a question that needs to be answered within 24 hours. And that's difficult and adds stress on all sides. So we simply would like to acknowledge that, yes, there is a lot of information, but that given that this information is publicly available, include in the various channels that we have discussed and will be discussing in the course of this pre-departure orientation session. Given that you have 60 days before you start your classes, hopefully many of you will take the time to really familiarize yourself with these resources in these small bite-sized chunk formats. And Jessica, back to you.
Absolutely. I know by no means do we mean for you to read our entire website. This is really just a request that when you have a question and not a request, it's more information for you because I know you want quick answers. And sometimes it's not easy to get a quick answer through email, and you might find your answer here. So we can move on to the next page. So when you click on the who to contact pages, so you're going to click on the North Bay because there's different contacts for the Toronto campuses. And here's an example of what I was saying. So you have health insurance, there's a specific contact for health insurance. You have registration issues, there's a specific contact for registration. Your payments, there's a specific contact for payments. So when you reach out to the proper person or the proper department, you might get an answer a lot quicker. And again, like I said, when you include too many departments, each department might think that the other department responded. So try to reach out to the most appropriate contact. And you'll see here that I circled the emotional well-being contact. This is a really important one, and I believe that we're going to go through some issues with emotional well-being and culture shock. And this is where you can find somebody to reach out to. We have free resources. We have free counseling through our campus at College Drive. And you can reach out to them whether you're at Commerce Court, you're at Perry Sound, or you're at Aviation. And this is Jillian Gear. She can, if you have any issues or you have any questions related to your emotional well-being, this is who you would reach out to. And I think that's a really important contact to have here. So we can move on. So just to reiterate, when you're looking for a quick answer, it's important to be able to go through our websites, to go through the FAQs, and to look at your iSent app because most likely your answer is there. We want to make sure that you're getting an answer as quickly as possible. And we're definitely not disregarding your emails. Sometimes they do pile up, especially at the beginning of the semester when there's a lot of questions coming through and we're trying to work through them as quickly as possible. But sometimes there's hundreds, even thousands sometimes. So just trying to find that answer or making sure you reach out to the right person will help you get your answers as quickly as possible. You'll notice too that when you send an email, a lot of the departments will have an automatic reply. And it's really important that you don't disregard the automatic reply because we do have a lot of information and your answer might be answered there in that automatic reply. And then you're answered, you're done, you can move on. So what do you need? What do you do if you need a quick answer? Go through the websites, go through the FAQs, look at iSent, and then reach out to the appropriate department for your answers. So hopefully that's helpful in helping you find answers as quickly as possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jessica, for that. And I like to just stress again that the form which you just saw on a previous slide, where you have all the emails, those are the department, and it's very specifically mentioned that which department handles which kind of an issue. So if you have a query, make sure you get to the right department through that email. So I'll talk about travel related matters now. Marley, can you go on next page? Yeah. So things you can, do to prepare when you're traveling or when you're planning to travel or when you come is learn some basic cooking. I know when I came to Canada, I started my cooking here. I didn't cook before. So if you know these few little things, it can help you and make a lot of difference in your life. And prepare your resume if you're planning to, take a part-time job. Make sure these resume are refined and are relevant to the jobs you're going to take. a lot of people they don't find job because their resume or CVs are not refined. They might be looking for a job, at a restaurant, but have or are showing that they are very expert in coding. So things like that do matters, and that can help you to get job faster. Try to network with your friends who are already in Canada or at Canada. Or there are many Facebook groups. Well, a lot of them are related to housing, colleges specifically. Uh, get to know them and be friends with them. So when you come here, maybe you can find an accommodation together. This way, you can transition to Canada in an easy way. Uh, and now that you have already planned to come to Canada, it's wise to learn about the Canadian culture. For example, there's two official languages, so English and French. Uh, this will help you to communicate with other people in your classes or at your workplace. Uh, do a little research about the field or the studies you are planning to take here in Canada. Try to know the trend about the industry. With this knowledge, it will be easy for you once you graduate. You get to move to the right job or industry. For those of you who are looking to have a convenience of driving, you can get an international driving permit. So when you come to Canada, it's easy for you to change your license. That this way you can get a car which can help you to commute to college or other places or at work. Download an iSend app, just like my colleague Jessica mentioned earlier. This app will be a go-to app for you guys. It will have a lot of information resources that can help you in Canada. For any immigration related matters, go to IRCC website. They keep on updating these websites from time to time with latest and credible information. A friend might give you a quick answer, but it might not be the right answer. So quickest way to get answers related to immigration, it's not the wise approach. Accommodation. So sometimes students do struggle finding accommodation. It's very good to plan your accommodation, find an accommodation. There are social groups on Facebook or other websites where you can, see the available rentals. You can plan or book a rental before you come, and this way it will be easier for you to, come to Canada and get started with your life. So also plan how will you travel from, airport in Toronto or Montreal or any other airport to campus. And we'll talk about that in upcoming slides. Marley, next slide. Yeah. So booking flight is kind of a strategic way because, booking on last minute can be expensive sometimes. So once you got your, approval or your visa, try to find the best way, you can book flight and try if you are willing to get a best price out of it. Uh, I think one thing I will advise on this is to avoid straight flight because it takes generally 13 to 14 hours to come to Canada from India. And it's not easy to sit in a flight for that long. So some people might just prefer to have a layover somewhere in the middle. Check your itinerary, make sure you know your baggage allowances, and to avoid any problems, when you are at the airport and when you are checking in. Make sure your passport is with you all the time. Passport is one thing you should always keep in your pocket when you are traveling, not in your bags probably. So you should have you should not have any chance to lose it. Next slide, Marley. Yes.
Thank you, Paul. If I may just quickly jump in and note, relative to booking flights, you might also want to keep in mind the number of times you can defer your acceptance to the college. So that's also something that'll come up. But if you've booked your flights and are looking to defer, that may not work out or align very well because only a certain number of deferral opportunities are allowed. Thanks. Back to you, Paul.
Thank you. So ETAs and TREs. So ETA is electronic travel authorization. It's for some foreign nationals who do not need a visa to come to Canada. So they are visa exempt, and there's a different process for that. And but many of the students we get, they do need a visa. So when you send your passport for visa stamping and when you get it back, make sure that you have all the details in that visa correct. And there's no error made made by IRCC. I'm sure when you get your visa stamp, you're very excited and happy to come. And just make sure you take some time to get that, take a look at the visa and you have right information to avoid any, further problems at the airport or when you land in Canada. Uh, Immunization and medical clearance, this was mostly when we had COVID. Some foreign national, when they come to Canada, they might be requested to, go through extra medical tests. So there's nothing to panic about it. Just make sure when you are requested that kind of, test or information, and when an officer is giving you these requests, you get all the details right and how to, respond back with those tests. Supplemental medical insurance or travel insurance. And if you do have a chance to, have a travel insurance to avoid any issues when you have your baggage or damage or loss, so an insurance can cover you. So something that you can consider.
Sorry, Paul, if I may, I apologize to everybody for interrupting so many times, but I'm wanting to just touch on something here. Supplemental medical insurance. So perhaps Marley can also speak to this. But one of the ideas here is that long-term existing medical conditions are not covered by the health insurance plan that you are provided when you join any institution in Canada. We can use several examples. For example, if you were pregnant before accessing your health insurance plan, so for example, before April 29th, your first day of classes, that's considered a pre-existing medical condition. The costs of delivering in Canada are decently high. It is for this reason and for this kind of in this protective vein that we provide this guidance to you. If you do not obtain coverage for pre-existing medical conditions, you will have to pay out of pocket. An example for costs associated with pregnancy could be in the order of 20,000 to 40,000 Canadian dollars. And that's not a situation we want our students to be in. One of the ways you could mitigate is by, for example, reaching out and connecting with Marley in advance. You could ask those questions. You can book time with her. All of that can be done through the iSend app. And these are ways you can better protect, better ensure that your specific case needs are met well in advance of your travel. So just a few things to keep in mind. Of course, all of you will have health insurance at Canada College, but that's closer to emergency medical insurance rather than a comprehensive health insurance plan. And Marley will even touch on the timelines for the accessing of health insurance. Thank you, Paul. Sorry about that.
No problem. Yeah, Marley, you can go on next page. Okay, so proof of financial resources, police clearance, and traveling with family members. Uh, when you come to Canada, it's very important that you carry all the important documents and related to your visa and the application you submitted before. One of the document or thing would be proof of financial resources. When you come to Canada, and a border officer can request any of these documents from you, and it's wise to have them in your bag or in pocket to show them right away. Or maybe the worst case would be to show them, on a phone. Uh, if you do not have these documents or ways to prove what you initially showed in your application, a border officer can go ahead and raise those questions and even deny an entry. Uh, Police clearances are not needed for students that come to Canada. However, police clearances might be needed for any jobs you wish to take here, especially in healthcare sector or any sector which is related to public dealing. So, an employer can request these certificates. So depending on your, studies and your plans you will have in Canada, you might need a police clearance. In general, it is not required. Traveling with your family members. So if you have a family member traveling with you, they will probably need a visitor visa for it. Uh, these visas are obtained before, and it's always important to, have proper documentation when you're traveling. Next. So during travel, when you get like any confirmation about tickets, about visa, about your permit application, it's always good to see the whole letter or confirmation and read any condition, any requirements, any details on it. So when you book your ticket, make sure you read the full itinerary on it. So in general, the carry-on bag must not be a 7 kg. So when you are taking your boarding pass, they do sometimes check, and if you are over this limit, they might ask you to step aside and remove certain things, which is more of a stressful process again. Keep your important documents in your carry-on baggage. So any degrees, any certificates, even some cash if you have, anything which is important, and then you know that you cannot lose, make sure that is in your carry-on baggage. Any medications you have, if you need any medication during travel, or if you have any medical condition that you are having medicines for, make sure that those are in your carry-on baggage. Power banks are not allowed in check-in baggage, so they can only go with you in carry-on. Airport security, they do not allow any liquid above 100 ml. So what I do in this case is I just carry an empty bottle and fill it up at the airport. So that way I have my water and I stay hydrated. But they won't allow any liquid which is coming outside from the airport. And again, check your itinerary. Marley, next. Thanks. So things you should do and you should not do during, travel. See the guidelines that the airlines have. The general check-in allowance for baggage is 23 kgs or less. Sometimes they also have some specifications for bags to how big or small, so they can fit in their compartment. In your baggage, you can put your clothes, shoes, any hygienic products like deodorant, uh, charging pins. So Canada has the different charging pins and voltage than other countries. So make sure you check that. And if you like, you can also bring some stationery like pen, notebooks, or any reading books you like. Uh, the things you cannot bring. So due to the customs, you cannot bring any fruits, vegetable, or any plant, any cheese, dairy products. Uh, you also cannot bring in pickles, oil, butter. Uh, these things are subject to customs check, and the CBSA website has all the details that the things you can bring to Canada and the things you cannot bring to Canada. So it is wise to check these things uh, because you have to declare these items, and there will be a form which will ask you about the things you're bringing into Canada. Next. So when you arrive at the airport, there are so North Bay has its own airport as well, and some of you might prefer to have a connection at the international airport and then have a connection to Jack Garland Airport as well. as a convenience. So from that airport, you have options. Uh, if you know your address or your friend's accommodation and the address, you can do a ride share or they can pick you up. Uh, Many students we get, they mostly land on Pearson Airport. Uh, so it's always wise to check some details and maps about the airport that can help you, navigate when you land in Canada. One of the biggest question and concern, I think, will be how to reach North Bay from an international airport. So Ontario Northland has buses, and they run this service every day from Toronto to North Bay. You can probably reserve a ticket in advance, so have your booking ready already to avoid any delays or miss any availability to come to North Bay. There's also the secondary option would be Northern Airport Service, which is a van-based charter services. So they have a van, and you can probably reserve it before you land to Canada, just to have a confidence and confirmation. One
Paul,
other
oh,
Yeah, another thing would be if you have friends already in Canada that can help you to come to North Bay and pick you up from the airport, which is, I think, which happens like 60 to 70% time, as I know. Yeah, go ahead, Amir.
thank you. For those students who are looking to spend a little bit of time, as many of our students will often want to do around the Toronto area, you might want to plan your visit and your travel accordingly, knowing that your classes begin on April 29th, the orientation is on April 26th. But if you'd like to maybe consider taking a day or two to explore the Toronto area, maybe you've heard of Niagara Falls and you'd like to go there, that would likely make sense once you arrive in Toronto before you come to North Bay rather than going go back and forth. And we do have, for example, a lot of exchange students who come through for short-term programs, and they'll either plan to visit around Toronto and see family or friends, or do some shopping or see some of the sights and sounds of Toronto before coming to North Bay, or when they're going back from their exchange program. So it's just a thought to share with all of you, because especially for those coming to Canada and Toronto for the first time, you might have heard a lot about the large city of Toronto and Niagara Falls. And if you come, for example, on April 24th, you might have a day or two to go around the Toronto area before coming to North Bay for the April 26th orientation. But simply something to keep in mind, and for you to plan accordingly. As Paul said, there are many options that are where it's possible to book in advance, and you could, for example, consider booking a Northern Airport taxi trip from Toronto, or the Ontario Northland trip from Toronto to North Bay for, say, something like April 25th, April 24th, April 23rd, whatever works best. Thank you.
Thank you, Amir. Marley, we can go on next page. Yes. So what to expect at the airport? So every foreign national or any even a Canadian citizen, when they come to airport, they are uh, subject of an examination. So when you land at the airport, you will probably go and do your customs check. Uh, at Pearson now they have automated machines. So you will go there. You will probably have to scan your visa, which will automatically trigger some options for you where you have to declare certain items. If you will have a questionnaire already there. It's very important to take some time and answer those questions, properly and truthfully. Uh, it's it's okay to answer that you might have a plant so that you declare it, and they will just seize it. So they will not put any penalty on it. So truthfully answering all the question is the advice I will give in this case. And uh, after finishing your declaration on a machine, you will be given a printout form, which you will probably have to now take it to the primary inspection. So at that counter, a border officer will see that you are entering Canada first time and guide you through a secondary examination where you will be given your permits. So uh, at that, when you are issued a permit, you will be requested that you can be requested certain documentation related to your original application. You can be asked certain questions about your intentions in Canada, and based on that, you will be given study permit. If your program is going to have a placement or a work-related option, make sure you get both permits. So study permit and a co-op permit. And once you get these permits, make sure you check them too, based on any conditions on those permit, any information, date of birth, your name, passport detail, expiration date. Check all those details carefully and be sure that all those details are correct. So it's that addition to that, so again, it's wise to have your financial documents, your study plans, and most important, your letter of acceptance from the college.
Paul, if you don't mind, we do get
Yeah.
a lot of emails from students asking for their enrollment letter, and I believe that they're looking for it for travels. I'm just going to clarify that your enrollment letter is not available until you've registered and started attending your classes. So I think what students are actually looking for is their LOA, their offer letter. So just make sure you have your offer letter with you. And if you don't have it, you can access it on OCAS where you applied, or have your agent send it to you.
Yes. So letter of acceptance is a confirmation that you have, you are going to be part of the college. But what basically border officers they are looking for is how well do you know about your plans in Canada. So of a student who's coming to Canada, it is expected out of them that they should know like what program they are going to take, what classes, courses they will probably take in their first semester. That helps an officer to, understand that this is a bona fide student. Yeah. So once you get your permit and you then are given a go. So the next step is to collect your baggage from the carousel. So in a process when you are, getting off the plane, there might be certain announcement in the plane or after that at which, a baggage carousel, you will get your baggages. So make sure you know. And sometimes these baggages, they do take some time. So there's no need to panic on that. Just wait there. And if you find yourself in a problem that you don't receive your baggage, just wait there and, an airline customer representative can help you with your baggage. Uh, Make sure you still have your declaration card because once you get your baggage, the next step is to exit from the airport. And just before that, a border officer will ask you to hand over your declaration card. This is a normal process. The advice on this is to just stay calm and follow the process easily. If you find something which you're not understanding, just take some time or take help from the airport staff. They can help you with that. Okay, so when is the right time to arrive Canada? So let's say your classes are starting at a certain day. So 4 weeks before is probably a good time to come to Canada. If you are coming earlier than that, you should have a reason why you're traveling so early. One example could be, let's say you have a family member here which you haven't seen for a very long time. So you might want to spend some time with your family member before, uh, before starting with the college. So an officer can ask these questions that if the reason for you to travel early, and your answer will determine how it goes from there. Uh, Make sure you have your tickets and you're coming to Canada on time to attend these classes, and even as Amir said earlier, to attend the orientation. This will be, first of the few days you will start your life in Canada, and it's very important at that time that you get to know about the services, the process and procedure and departments your professors may be to, transition in Canada. Okay, so arriving too late. So we have a very strict policy that arriving late might not be, a good thing in your case because you will miss some classes and probably you will miss your seat in those classes. So Canada does offer a deferral one time to next available semester. It's very important to check your LOAs with all the deadlines and any person who to contact if you are in a situation like this. If you think you might not be able to get a visa on time, wait until the deadlines in an LOA to request a deferral. Uh, so find a balance in these deadlines to have a better decision on it. Next slide, Marley. Okay, so my colleague will continue with the next section, living in Canada.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Paul, for that. Those are great tips for traveling. So hi, everybody. My name is Marley, and you must be getting so excited for your upcoming studies. So I'm going to go through living in Canada with you today. So while you embark on your exciting journey, it's important to remember that there may be some ups and downs that you face. One example is what is referred to as culture shock. Culture shock is like a roller coaster, and it's often noted in 4 stages. The first stage is the honeymoon stage. This is when culture is new and exciting, and you're positively surprised by your host country. Everything is so exciting. Next is referred to as the rejection phase. This is when life realities can start to feel overwhelming, and sometimes your viewpoint can start to feel negative. Next is the regression stage, which can sometimes lead you to want to connect to people from your home country. However, quickly following that, there's also a recovery phase. This is where you can start to feel more connected to your host culture and feel that you are fitting in. During your time at Canadore, please know that there are services and resources available to support your well-being. There are also settlement services available throughout Ontario as you start this adventure. Living and attending school abroad is a fantastic opportunity where you can experience different cultures and traditions. In North Bay, we have residence options available for housing, most of which are located very close to the College Drive campus. Living in residence provides a community of students and many facilities such as internet, on-site laundry, and utilities. You do, however, have the option to secure off-campus housing. Please note here are some helpful websites that can help you in your housing search, but also be aware of potential fraudulent scams around housing and be able to protect yourself. Make sure that when you're viewing a rental or space that you do not pay to view the unit. This is not common practice. Ensure that you do not share your SIN number. A landlord can ask for this when you're filling out an application to rent a property or negotiating a lease with a landlord, but you are not required to provide this. It is not a mandatory requirement for a new tenant. If your landlord wishes to conduct a credit check, they can do this with your full name, current address, and date of birth, but they do need your written and explicit consent for this. If the apartment or house is much cheaper than other units in the area, you should flag this as a potential concern. Also, if the landlord is not available to personally show you the unit, if the unit is posted on multiple websites with different contact information, if the unit looks very different than what you saw in pictures, and if the landlord asks you for a large amount of money to rent or apply to rent the home. Please note for those that are attending our West Parry Sound campus that we do not have accommodations or transportations for Canadore students. Students will need to connect with West Parry Sound campus administration who can help you in your search. There are many options for places of worship at our various campus locations. In particular, North Bay and Parry Sound have various spaces for faiths. Please take some time to research the list with the links here to learn more. So when you arrive, you'll probably want to access your phone as soon as possible. And we're lucky to have apps like WhatsApp or Messenger. However, you may also wish to have a SIM card during your time in Canada. There are many companies such as Fido, Koodo, Virgin, and Rogers that can provide networks in Canada and have international talk time plans that can be based on your needs. When you go to get this, you will likely need photo ID. You may also choose to have a bank account in Canada, and there are 5 major banks here: Scotiabank, TD Bank, CIBC, RBC, and BMO. These banks can offer various accounts with similar plans and benefits that you can research to see what may work best for you. Please note that you will need photo ID and likely proof of residence and enrollment when opening your bank account. It is also important to ensure that you have Canadian dollars, as this is the common currency, and it's advisable to come to Canada with at least $200. There are options that you can exchange currency here as well. For grocery in Canada, we have many different diverse options in North Bay and Parry Sound. Most grocery stores even have an additional diverse grocery aisle with items that you may recognize from home. Some examples of grocery stores in North Bay include No Frills, Independent, Freshco, Walmart, Spices Village, Bulk Barn, and Food Basics. It's very important to take into account your housing location in relation to the closest grocery store to you. Sometimes, though, you may not feel like cooking. And in those instances, we have great diversity of cuisine in North Bay. Take a look here at some of the options in North Bay of things that are really great and fun to go to. Next up, I'm talking about our health insurance. So please see here a bit of a timeline explaining our GuardMe health insurance for international students. So our students incoming have classes starting on April 29th. However, 15 days prior to that, you do have emergency coverage in our grace period. Upon your arrival, you will learn more about your benefits, and we will start what's called the 10-day count. The 10-day count is a time where we are putting in your insurance so that you can have your card and download it, which you'll be able to get by May 13th. Just as an idea for some of our student health insurance coverage and inclusions, we know that accidents do happen, and if you become sick or injured, your GuardMe insurance coverage will help you. Our enhanced plan is your emergency health insurance during your program of studies. Your plan includes no deductibles and covers hospital and clinic visits and medically required surgery and diagnostic testing. This plan is comprehensive and covers the cost of an ambulance, maternity expenses for pregnancies that start during the term of your policy, an annual eye exam, and a physical exam. This plan also covers you anywhere in the world except in your home country. This is an emergency travel medical plan, so there are items that are not covered. Examples during your stay in Canada can include plastic or cosmetic surgery, expenses from your home country, claims resulting from drug or alcohol use, elective or non-emergency medical treatment, and medication commonly available without a prescription. Now we're going to talk about driving in Ontario. So if you're looking to drive in Ontario, we have a graduated license system in order to possess a full driver's license. It helps reduce the risks of that new drivers face, especially with ice and snow. So we have our G1, our G2, and then our full G. However, if you're looking to apply for a driver's license, with one from already at home, you must have what's called a driving extract. This is something that includes a written or official letterhead in French or English, and it should be no more than 6 months old. It would also provide the following information: the issue and expiry date of your license, the class of your license, and confirmation that the license was valid for the relevant period of time for the purposes of establishing experience driving. For more information, you can always check out Driving in Ontario here at Arrive On. Transportation, so specifically in North Bay, your fees include a bus pass for the North Bay City Transit. You can find more information here about the transit website. And our buses usually run every 15, 30, or 60 minutes throughout the day with different times on Sundays. There are other options other than buses though, including taxis, you need a ride, or biking, and many things are available within walking distance. We do encourage students to download the Dynamic Dispatching app and the MyRide app for online booking and dispatch. The QR code is located here. Riders will be able to use the app to locate and book their trips. You can pick your pickup and drop-off location and confirm your ride. Once your ride is booked, dynamic dispatching technology matches multiple passengers headed in the same direction onto one bus and directs those passengers in a convenient bus stop location. This app is available for download through Apple or Google Play, and we would highly recommend that you have this before your time of arrival. So for our Parry Sound students, Parry Sound is a bit of a smaller town, and it is very easy to navigate. Your best options here are to walk, to bike, to take a taxi, or finally, you could use your own vehicle as traffic is quite calm in Parry Sound. So thank you very much, and I'll be moving it on to my colleague.
Thank you, Marley. Hi, everyone. I welcome everyone to this session, and thank you for continuing to stay on. I know this is a lot of information that you're getting today, and it can be overwhelming, and I urge you to grasp as much as possible. And also this session will be available to you at a later date where you can go through and review any information that you need. So we are going into registration related matters. Here is just an information slide about OCAS. Most of you would by now know what OCAS is. It's Ontario College Application Service for students who are using an agent. This is where you submit your application for Canberra College or colleges in Ontario. And this is where also you communicate with the college, with the international admissions team, and where you get your LOA, where you submit your visa, where you submit your study permit and such things. So just for information, these are 2 QR codes which you used for open intakes. And if you want to apply for a fresher application, and these are the 2 QR codes available. And on to the next slide. So registration and timetable or class schedule. So after receiving a passport request, and once you have received your passport stamped with the visa and counterfoil, of course, congratulations. Now you have done the hard part, and now you have to pack your bags, come here, and you reach here, attend the in-person orientation. First day of class, you come on campus, and you're wondering, where is your first class at? And you're asking for the staff, okay, show me where my class is. And they ask you to go into your self-service portal to see your class schedule. And then you see there is no class schedule because you have not registered for your classes. So we don't want to get into that mess. Even before that part, like for you to be able to register, you should upload your study permit and or visa onto the OCAS portal. So the reason I say this is this will trigger us to know that you're coming, and we will send you an invite or an email to register for classes. So once you have your study permit, good, or like once you have your study visa, good, wonderful, you're coming here. But before you travel, use the OCAS portal or use your agent who is working with the OCAS portal with us to upload the study visa, which will let us know that you're coming here, and we will send you an email. The email comes sometime around 3 weeks before the first day of classes. That's when we offer you the invite to register for classes. So once you're done registering, you will have a class schedule which you can access through your self-service portal. And it will have information on your classes, where your classes are at, and what time of the day the classes are at, if it is going to be an in-person class or if it's going to be a practical session, and so on and so forth. So study permit refusal, this is a very hard and challenging situation. But nevertheless, if there's a study permit refusal, there are multiple options that you will be looking to consider. One thing that you should note here is deferring the offer. And when I say deferring the offer, you defer the offer for the available intake, for the next available intake. Right now, most of the students here on the call are looking to come for the spring 2024 intake. But regardless, if you do get a study permit refusal, you have to consider, I highly urge you to consider deferring the offer to the next available intake. This might not be the best or like the ideal situation for you, but this is the process that you have to follow to have a seamless and a successful time here when you do come here to Canberra College. And I want to reiterate here, you can defer the offer only once. And after that, you can still come to Canberra, but you will have to apply with a new application, and international admissions team will be more than have to consider your application, knowing your situation. And the last day to defer for the spring 2024 intake is April 26th. And Amir, do you have something? Sorry, Amir, you're on mute.
Amil, can I go? Question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you. These are interesting times that we are in, given recent IRCC changes to the process for international students in international education. Specifically for the spring 2024 students, if you are looking to defer, you might be potentially subject to the new regulations that are coming into effect in fall 2024. And my colleagues Amil, Paul might be able to do a consultation with you should you have questions on how a deferral in the spring intake impacts your conditions in the fall, which is, as we know, when the new or newer regulations are coming into effect for new international students. So certainly something that is worth keeping on your radars in the context of a deferral. And I would leave it to the experts who are, in this case, Amil and Paul, to speak to you should you have any particular questions. And again, you can do a consultation or ask questions to Amil and Paul via the iSend app. Thank you, Amil.
Thank you, Amir. Yeah, that's a very important and relevant information you have to consider. Of course, you will have a lot of questions around those regulations and what it might look to your situation. Please, as Amir pointed out, reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to navigate the situation. So again, OCAS portal is the portal that you use and the only portal that you use to communicate with us prior to you with regards to your admissions and with regards to your refund and with regards to your withdrawal of so on and so forth in this situation. But if you do not have access to OCAS portal, please reach out to your agent who can follow the necessary procedure and protocol in place to successfully defer or like onto the next slide, please. Or withdraw and refund in this case. So to withdraw and go for a refund, of course, we'll be sad to see you leave, but there is a clear procedure in place for withdraw and refund. So if you have registered for your classes, that is a different procedure. And if you have requesting a refund, that's a different procedure. So in order for a refund to be processed, you should not be registered in classes. That being said, if you have registered for classes and you have a class schedule and class timetable, the first thing that you do before you request for a refund is submit or withdraw from your classes. Without having withdrawn from the classes, you will not be approved a refund. And just by submitting a refund request will not trigger a withdrawal request. So these are two separate requests that you have to place. So before or prior to doing a refund, withdraw from your classes and submit for a refund. And it has to go through the OCAS portal. Any email request or any email inquiry regarding refund will not be processed. You can have information, but the actual request should come through the OCAS portal. And also note there is a $300 administrative fee that is withheld for visa refusals, and you should upload a proof of visa refusal. And the last date for you to request for a refund is the 10th day of class. And the 10th day of class is, I believe it works out to be May 10 here. So that will be the last date that you request for a refund. And after that, you will not be getting any refund or for withdrawals after the 10th day of class. And one important thing to note here is 8 weeks. 8 weeks is the date or the time around it takes for a refund request to be processed. So any subsequent follow-up with regards to your refund will have the same answer that it is going to take 8 weeks. So if you're applying for it today, I would say the date for that, I had it just here, will be May 6th. May 6th is the date that you can expect a turnaround or a result on your refund request to be processed. So until then, I suggest you or request you to be sit tight and give us, our team, the necessary time it takes to process that request. Next slide, please. Okay, IT policy, BYOD, bring your own device at Canada College. It's a program delivery that requires students to have their own computing devices and also your smartphones. I have to reiterate here what Marley just shared, like the student ID is through your mobile phone app, which also doubles up your bus pass. So you will need your hard devices here. And one important thing to note here is that like you need a lot of software to be successful here on campus through your studies at Candor. When you do access to your when you do have access to your self-service account, the Candor self-service account, there you will see an email ID that will be something like a number followed by candorstudents.ca. So that is an email ID which will give you free access to Office 365 software, which will be very helpful in your classes, during your assignments, or for a host of other things. You can have Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and a lot of other valuable software which will help your stay successful to be in Canada. And again, you have to be adhering to the computer and network resource use acceptable use policy. Like Candor has strict policies around what you use the devices and network for. So please be aware of that and use all resources responsibly. Next slide, please. Okay, scholarships and bursaries. Of course, international students at Canador are eligible for financial assistance, and scholarships, bursaries are to name a few things. We do have entrance awards and a host of other things that is available for international students. Some of you might have had it on your letter of acceptance of, so entrance awards are generally given to students who, before you start your classes here and as part of your admissions. And scholarships and bursaries, as you see the date here, are available through these dates. Scholarships November 1 to January 26th of each year, and bursaries October 1 to October 28. Feel free to scan the QR code, which will take you directly to those websites and which will have a lot of information. Please take the time to read through it. There is like a number of scholarships, with each scholarship having their own definite criteria. And I or my team might not be able to decide what's best for you or what you might be eligible for. You have to read through it, understand the criteria, and like if you have any questions on those criteria, please reach out to us and we may be able to clarify for it. But we cannot suggest which scholarship you will be eligible for, because it is a case-by-case basis, and it is not that anyone who applies for it gets it. It's someone who was like, like ranked and meets those criteria, gets those scholarships and bursaries. So again, please make note of these dates. It is only open during these times, and please make sure that you apply for these scholarships and bursaries during those available times. Make use of it. And there is also a need-based financial aid, depending on your situation or extenuating circumstances, that can be considered by the financial aid office as well. And yeah, it's all depending on the case. And please feel free to reach out to us or the financial aid office if there might be a situation that you think is considerable and extenuating. Part-time employment. My colleagues already touched about part-time employment topics. As a student, you will be looking to gain some experience that will help you after your studies here in Canada through part-time employment. Of course, you can come here as have a good resume, have a good interview, and land a job. But the one important document that you might need to even start work here in Canada is a SIN number. That's a social insurance number that is provided by Service Canada. And this number is a 9-digit number, which is very confidential and private to you. Please save it or guard it, as it is a PIN number to your life. So do not give it out as easily to anyone. Save it in a very safe manner, and disclose it only when needed. And who can ask for a SIN number? Your employers. Your employers can absolutely ask for your SIN number, because that is one thing that is needed by them for you to work for them, because they have to report this SIN number to the CRA, saying that like you are working for them. And it'll be consequently used in the tax forms and other things. So, but please be very aware that it can be if it is disclosed, it can like it will be a privacy thing. So make sure that like you save it in a very safe manner. And on-campus and off-campus work. So on-campus, Student Candor does have a lot of on-campus job opportunities. Again, as I point out in the scholarships, that's the same for the jobs on campus as well. Please feel to scan this QR code. It will directly take you to the student employment portal or like student employment website, where there's like a lot of information about the job postings that is available. It might not be open right now, but during 3 times of the year is the major openings that will be available for students for each intake, which you can use to apply for. There's information about how to apply and what's the procedure that you have to follow and how to follow up, and all information is available on the website. Please take time to review it. And again, yeah, apart from on-campus work, you can also find off-campus work. You can use Indeed, the job bank, jobbank.ca is where you can find postings about jobs in Canada. LinkedIn, if you do not have a LinkedIn already, please set up a LinkedIn portal and have your credentials, have your experiences up on the LinkedIn and start making connections. That will be helpful not only during your time as a student, but further after your studies here at Canada. Next slide, please. Okay, first week of classes, what to expect. Before first week of classes, I expect all of you, expect to see all of you here on the first day of orientation. I'll be there, and hopefully with all of my team members here. We look forward to welcoming you here. Explore the campus, like just spend time to know the campus, make friends, come say hi. I'm at the Commerce Code campus. I'm E101, the first office on your right. I'll be welcoming you with a big smile, and I hope to see you all here on April 29 or April 26 for orientation, and first day of classes at April 29. So that sums up the pre-departure orientation session. If anyone have any remarks right now, before we head off to the Kahoot review session. We have a fun, interesting game to see what you have gathered over this session. And Amar, do you have any remarks?
Sure. Yeah, just to maybe go back and simply state that we thank all of our presenters today, particularly, of course, Marley, Jessica, Amil, and Paul, for all your time and efforts with us. We do have a final activity for you, but please note that we're not the only departments, of course, that work to ensure your success here at Canada. We're joined by a number of different areas and departments, and we hope you'll get to know all of them, but certainly have some key colleagues on this call and on this pre-departure orientation. We hope you will have the opportunity to meet all the various departments and areas that contribute to your success here at the college. Again, thank you very much for joining our Spring 2024 orientation, and perhaps we'll go to our final activity, a fun and engaging Kahoot. Marley, Paul, Amil, over to you.
Thank you, Amar. So yeah, if you can take out your phones, or if you have your laptops, computers, feel free to scan this QR or use your PIN. So join at www.kahoot.it, or you can also log in using the Kahoot app. Okay, I already see students joining in. Give it a few minutes before we start the game. So again, the PIN is 7418806. And also, if not, you can use the QR code to get right into it. Feel like 20 more seconds before you start. So you have 75 already here. Ten more seconds. Okay, I'm gonna start the game, but like feel free to join in. You can still join as we start the session. Here we go. Okay, which of these are Candor College campuses? So we have aviation and commerce code in College Drive, West Barry Sound, for all of them. Okay, 26 of you got it right. Of course, all of these are Candor College campuses, but the right answer is all of them, not just any one. Okay, let's see who's on top here. Okay, we have Sanjana on top, followed by PSG and Karan Sharma. Okay, next question. Okay, where can you find information on student support and services that is specific to international students at Canada? Social media, national microsite, gas portal, or from your agent. International microsite, 34 of you got it right. Okay, definitely, or like, oh no, 9 of you got it right. Okay, I'm gonna take a minute here to explain it again. So OCAS portal is only for communication regarding your LOA, admissions, study permit, visa, documents that you upload. And if you wanna go for a refund or deferring your offer, that's why you use the OCAS portal for. But international microsite is where you find support and services that is available for you specifically at Candor College. So international microsite, I think Jessica clearly pointed out how to get to international microsite. So please review the video once it's available. And yeah, international microsite. Let's see who are the 9 who got it right. Okay, we have a new leader, Mimi, followed by Deepshika, the Amu. Next. Oh, double points. I have my offer, visa, study permit, and came to Candor College. Where do you find your class schedule timetable? My email, my OCAS account, and self account. I have to register first. Oh, that's a big clue there. Okay, so okay, in your email, you will have instructions on how to register for your classes, but not your actual class schedule. So in your OCAS account, you will upload your visa and study permit, which will enable you to get that email. In your Candor self-service account, of course, you will have your class schedule, but you have to register first to have the class schedule. So I'm between the 20 and 30, I'm okay. But like who said, like in my email and my OCAS account, yes, but you should register using the instructions that you receive in your email, and then use the self-service account to access your class schedule. Okay, let's see here now. Oh, we have a new leader. Amu is on top, followed by Nikki and Sanjana. Oh, Rahul is up 19 places. Okay, true or false? There is financial aid assistance available for international students at Canada. True, false? Which one is it? The hint word is scholarship and bursaries. True, yeah, 62 of you got it right. Yeah, like you do have available financial aid and assistance in terms of scholarship, bursaries, entrance awards, and other things. Okay, I'm still on top, closely followed by Nikki. I'm at this high, up 9 places. Okay, what should I do when I'm questioned by officials during travel? Get nervous and be afraid. Give random and wrong information. Be confident and answer truthfully. Oh yeah. So yeah, do not answer any questions. Please do not do that. The two of you said that. Do answer, and like, yeah, definitely do not give random and wrong information. Yeah, most of you got it right. That's good. Okay, I'm still on top. Next question. Again, a true or false. Ooh, double points again. I can defer my offer more than once. Oh, can you? Can you not? Oh, that's a hint coming up. 68 of you got it right. Like, so those who are trying to, or like hoping that you can defer more than once, the 10 of you, no, you cannot defer the offer more than once. And with that being said, as Amir pointed out, if you're feeling uncomfortable around deferring your offer, please do reach out to us. We'll be able to navigate those situations for you. Okay, we still have Amu on top. Mala is up in 11 places. Okay, word cloud. You have to type it here. It can be a 3-letter word or like a bigger word. What is the 9-digit secure and confidential number from Service Canada that is needed to work in Canada? Let's see how many of you really paid attention to the session. Okay, it's a SIN number. Yeah, it's a SIN number, a social insurance number. Definitely not a SIM. And okay, social security PIN. It's a social insurance number. Let's see. True or false again. Carry all your documents, including letter of acceptance, fee receipts, port of entry, introduction letter in my cabin baggage. Oh, you guys are going fast on this. Yeah, like I'm going to address this it's very much very important here. So 28 of you who said you do not have to carry it in your cabin baggage, that's wrong. You should be carrying all these documents in person on you. So when you check in to your airport, the bigger baggages which you check in and like it is not traveling in person with you when you board the airplane, that's wrong. You should have all these documents when you board the airplane along with you, because when you enter Canada and then you go through a screening check, you will be first subject to screening and questions before you can access your baggage. So you should have it in person in your backpack or in your cabin baggage so that you can provide all these documents to the officers at the port of entry or at the entry. Yeah.
Amil, before we go to next question,
Yeah,
can
sure.
I just add, I like students or these individuals to understand there's checked in baggage and there's cabin baggage. So your big bags, they will be termed as checked in baggage. And the small bag you have, other than your, a backpack, is called a cabin bag. Now, when you check in your baggage, there will be some stickers which are put on your checked in big baggages. And part of those stickers, they go on your boarding pass, so your tickets. Make sure you keep your boarding pass and those stickers behind those boarding pass always attached and you don't lose them, because that's the way how you will, have a confirmation that to have the same bag and the same sticker on both ways. If you lose your baggage, just in case if that happens, your stickers helps you to identify the baggage. So make sure you have those things.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, that's very relevant and like very important. Make sure that you hold on to those baggage stickers. Thank you, Paul. Okay, we still have Amu on top, followed by Nikki, and Sumit is up 11 places. Next. Okay, quiz. Which of the following are options resources available to secure accommodation in Canada here in North Bay. We have Kijiji, Canada Residence, placesforstudents.com, all of them. And make sure to read all the options before it. Yeah, all of them are the correct answers. But yeah, you can use all of them to look for housing accommodation in North Bay. Oh, we have a new leader, Nikki, followed by Pallavi, and on to the next and final questions. Will you attend the in-person orientation on April 26, 2024? Will you? Yeah, all of you get the right answer because there's no way that you are missing it and I'm missing it. We all are going to be seeing you on April 26, 2024 at 9 a.m. at Canada College. So let's do the final honors here. We have the podium. We have Amu in third, Pallavi second. We have Nikki on top. So that's that. And I'm going to hand over to Marley in a second.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. That was a great way to test our knowledge after our session. So a big thank you to everyone, and we're very excited to see you soon. Amar, any final words?
None from my side. Thank you again, everybody, for being here. Thank you to our awesome team. Have a wonderful evening and day. And we look forward to seeing you on April 26th or in the halls here at Canada. Okay, everybody, all the best to you. We'll close our session. Signing off.